welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Sarika, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to also like this video, leave a comment, and share with all of your friends. So today we're going to be doing a 1 year / 10,000 kilometer review of our 2022 Audi Q3. I have Kamar here because he's the one that mainly drives the car, so he would give a better review than I would. So we're just gonna get into it. So I'm just gonna ask Kamar some questions and he's going to answer. So my first question is just a general question. How do you like the car?
Overall, it's been pretty good. I can't complain. For reference, this is the only car we've owned, so I don't really have a frame of reference.
Nice. Okay, good. So safety features. Do you feel like we have sufficient safety features? I think for reference, we have like the blind spot monitoring, we have the lane assist, airbags. Is there anything else?
Yeah, so it has this functionality where if it detects a car accident coming, or if it feels like a car is about to slam into you, it will tighten up all of the seat belts and wind up all of the windows to make sure you're safe.
Which is actually really scary. It feels like the seatbelt is choking you. I personally don't love that feature, but I get why it's necessary. But it's really terrifying when it happens because it's so sudden, and usually like nothing's actually happening. The car just thinks that something's happening, and then the seatbelt just tightens up and it feels like you're dying. But yeah, do you like this general safety features? Like right now we're on a road trip. The car beeped 1 or 2 times to let him know that he's drifting over into the other lane. So do you find those things helpful?
Yeah, it also has Audi presense, so I don't know if you can get the camera on this thing. I don't know if you can see, but it also has Audi presense, so it detects the distance to the car in front of me and lets me know if I'm getting too close or not. So if I get close like this, it will be like you're 1 second away from hitting them, so you slow down.
Ooh, there we can see it right in action right now. Yeah. Perfect.
And then if I start to drift over to the right too much, it will let me know.
Like that?
Like that, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so we've had the car for about a year. We're not big drivers, to be honest. We actually try and take transit as much as we can. We take transit to work, and if we need to go out, we'll take Uber. But we do still drive, obviously. How do you feel like the car does on gas?
Like she said, we don't really drive too often, so I only have to buy gas every 2 or 3 weeks, and that lasts me a couple drives. So I typically drive into the office 2 days a week, and then every other activity with the car is kind of miscellaneous. So maybe we'll go buy grocery, or maybe we'll go like take her to the hairdresser, or just like different like activities that you probably need a car for. But yeah, we don't really drive that often, so we fill up every 3 weeks. So I'd say it's decent on gas.
Okay, yeah, so we spend about $100 a month on gas, which is actually not that bad. I feel like for people who own cars, they probably spend more money on gas. So my next question is, I noticed that the car has different modes of driving. Have you ever used the different modes, and do you find them useful, helpful in different situations?
Yeah, so right now the car is in like regular drive mode. Typically when I want to get somewhere really quickly, so if I'm at a stoplight, or if I just want to get past the person ahead of me, I'd put the car in S for sport mode, and then it will the gears will shift and it'll allow me to go faster or accelerate quickly.
What about comfort mode? What's that?
Comfort mode just changes the way the car drives on the road, so I'd say it's a softer ride versus if you put it in like dynamic, where you kind of feel like you're a race car driver. There's also automatic mode, so automatic mode will kind of detect what kind of driving scenario you're in, and then make the adjustment to how the car drives based on that.
Nice. Okay, so Kem has an Android and I have an iPhone, but how do you find the Android CarPlay?
Android Auto. So
Android Auto, there we go.
Android Auto works pretty well, I'd say. I guess the UI is from Android, so the car doesn't really have to do anything other than provide a touchscreen and support. Same thing with CarPlay. Like CarPlay is fully supported as well, so it's really easy to use whenever we need to use it.
Okay, so I'm going to show you kind of dusty. I'm really sorry. But I'm gonna ask him more about the size, and as a driver, do you think the size is big enough? So I'll just show you while he talks.
Yeah, it's pretty decently sized, I'd say. Like, I haven't had any scenarios where I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish the screen is bigger. It's pretty good.
Nice. One thing I will say, as the passenger princess, that I've noticed is that like screen interface, it usually is supposed to pop up when you turn on the car, and there have been a few times that it doesn't, and we've had to restart the car or just wait or drive without it. So that's something that I've noticed that can be annoying sometimes, and I can imagine as a driver it would be annoying. Yes?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Is there anything about the car that you don't like?
I wish it had like memory seats, so whenever I take the car to get serviced, the guys would typically like take the car out for a test drive to make sure everything is okay before they return it, and they'll of course change the position of the seat, and then when I get the car back I can't remember what position the seat was in, and so it takes me a while to find that comfy spot again.
Yeah, and we're already talking about when I start driving the car and I move the chair to how I like it. It's gonna be interesting to keep switching it back and forth between the two of us. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna show you like one thing I would like. So I don't know if you can see our sunroof. It's pretty big actually, and I like that. I know in the Tesla it goes like it wraps from the top to the bottom. I don't know. I'm just very picky. I think that would be cool. But I don't know if you can really open the car that wide. But still, I would like that. Overall thoughts. The car is pretty like, you know, it's a little more pricey than, let's say, a Honda or a Toyota. Do you feel like it is worth the money? Honestly.
Honestly speaking, like, we got it because we could afford it at the time, but in retrospect I would have probably gone with something a bit cheaper.
Why?
I don't know, like I feel like if we had gotten like a Mazda 3 or something, it would have been like the same experience, because again we don't really drive that often, so it's really hard to justify like spending this much on a car to really drive that often. I love it, and I want to and will keep it, but if I had the choice to make it again, we'd probably go with something different.
Yeah, so anything else you want to add about whether the car was worth it?
Yeah, so when looking for cars, I really wanted an electric car, but at the time it didn't really make sense. We lived in a condo that didn't really have any charging stations, and the closest charging station was like a 10-minute drive away, so we didn't want to have to like park the car there during the days to get it charged or anything, because again we don't really drive that often. But the place that we live in now has charging stations in the garage, so it would have been really nice to have an electric car versus this. I think electric cars are a bit more future-proof.
Perhaps actually, if you are considering getting a car and you have the means, consider an electric car, because again you'll save money on that expensive gas. My review as the passenger princess is I think that this car is actually like pretty good in terms of if you're looking for a family-friendly vehicle. Like we have our dog in the back. Loki, hi sweet boy. Oh yes. We have our dog in the back. We have, you know, obviously we have 2 more passenger seats. You know, when our friends have come, we've been able to drive them out and have quite enough space for them. It's a bit, you know, we're taking it on a road trip now. It holds up really well. But I really like the car. As Kamar said though, like this is our first car, so I don't have you know, much frame of reference for cars versus other cars, but I really enjoy being the passenger princess in this car. I love Shadow a lot, that's his name. Yeah, I'll also say like as the SUV, like having the SUV, I was the one that pushed for the SUV versus a sedan just because I want more space. And I will say that the trunk space has been kind of worth it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I still would have preferred like a car.
But for example, when we were moving, this was actually one of the arguments I made for getting an SUV over a sedan. Like, what if we ever had to move? But when we were moving, it was very, very helpful to have a car that had so much space, because we can obviously push the seats back. Plus we have our trunk, which is large, and so that's able to carry quite a few boxes, quite a few things that we needed to move from one place to the other. Today we're on a road trip. We can carry, like, we have a beach umbrella in the back, which fits. When we go to the grocery store, we buy a lot of groceries at a time that can fit. So I feel like the trunk space is something that I personally love. Yeah. Okay, so my next question is, what about the maintenance? Do you feel like you spend a lot of money trying to upkeep the car? It's a fairly new car, so do you feel like you're spending too much on upkeeping it, maintaining it?
Not really. Like, servicing was free for the first year, with stuff like, you know, changing tires and getting like Audi tires, and then the other day we had to like fix the wheel alignment. Oh yeah, it was $250. Yeah, I don't know if it would have cost less somewhere else. Like if I had just gone to like a regular mechanic, but everything we've done so far, we've done through the dealership. So
yeah, I will say that, like, because we kind of split the cost of the car, I'll say that basically the most we've had to spend was buying winter tires. We've never had a car before, and we bought the winter tires from Audi, so obviously they're more expensive than just getting them from like secondhand or from somewhere else. That was the most expensive cost. Apart from that, upkeeping the car hasn't been bad at all. Like, we've spent $250 on wheel alignment. We've spent money on washing the car and getting it detailed a couple times throughout the year, but that's about it. So
also, I'll say, I'm not embarrassed to say it, I don't know much about cars, so everything I've said so far, take it with a grain of salt. That's my opinion, and I prefer to pay like the dealership to do the stuff for me that I can't do myself. So
yeah, but that's actually, I feel like that's a selling point for the car. So like, if you know, buy an Audi, like, again, this is our first car. I will just say that Audi has really, really good customer service. Like, I just remember like when Kamar would go and take the car in, and they would pay for an Uber for him to go to work, like things like that. Just small things like that, I feel like make it kind of worth it. Just having that partnership with the dealer, and kind of how much they care about you and the car. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed our very brief review of our year in our 2022 Audi Q3, and I will see you in the next one. I need you in the morning, but I need you now. Yeah, I find what I give you what you need. I know what you like.